During the bright hours of the day, if you look into a hamster's cage, you will likely find nothing but absolute stillness. The little wheel stands completely frozen, the food bowl sits untouched, and your tiny companion is nowhere to be seen, curled up into a soft, motionless ball of fur beneath a mountain of bedding. To the untrained eye, it seems like a world devoid of life, a quiet sanctuary where time has simply stopped. But this daytime piece is a clever evolutionary illusion, a protective shield engineered by nature to keep these delicate creatures safe from the harsh sun and the sharp eyes of predators in the wild. As the golden hour fades and twilight creeps into the room, a magical transformation begins to unfold. The quiet cage starts to stir with faint rustling sounds. A tiny pink nose pokes out from the wood shavings, twitching to catch the scent of the evening air. The deep sleep that was vital for recharging their immune system is over. The sun is set, the world has grown dark, and the true ruler of the night has finally awakened. Welcome back to Backyard Bird Mind, the place where we uncover the deepest, most fascinating secrets of the animal kingdom. If you love discovering the hidden wonders of the natural world, make sure to hit that subscribe button before you leave so you never miss our nightly journeys. Tonight, we are stepping into the shadows to witness an unbelievable transformation. You might think you know your little pet, but what happens when the room goes completely dark will change the way you look at them forever. Stay with me until the very end of this video, because our final discovery reveals a mind-blowing nocturnal superpower that you truly have to see to believe. Begins with a profound understanding that a hamster's daytime slumber is not merely a period of rest, but a sophisticated biological necessity. When you see your tiny companion sleeping soundly through the bright afternoon hours, their body is actively performing vital maintenance, deeply reinforcing their immune system to ensure they stay healthy and resilient against illness. In the harsh wilderness, this strict circadian rhythm is a life-saving defense mechanism, allowing them to remain completely hidden deep underground while the sun bakes the arid landscape and dangerous predators patrol the surface. Disturbing a hamster during these sacred daytime hours does not just make them grumpy. It triggers a severe wave of physiological stress that violently disrupts their natural equilibrium and can compromise their long-term health. But as the external world transitions into dusk, a silent internal alarm rings within their biological clock, signaling that it is safe to emerge. The slow, deep breathing of sleep transitions into quick, alert sniffs, and within moments, the quiet spectator of the day transforms into the dynamic explorer of the night. This awakening marks the boundary between the illusion of a still cage and the reality of a bustling, secret world that is just getting started. Driven by ancient instincts that have survived for millennia, brings us face to face with the most iconic yet deeply misunderstood feature of this nocturnal explorer: the anatomical miracle known as the cheek pouches. To the casual observer, these pouches seem like cute, simple pockets used to stuff a few extra seeds, but beneath the surface lies a brilliant engineering marvel of evolution. These extraordinary pouches possess a highly specialized physical structure completely devoid of salivary glands, meaning that no matter how long food or soft bedding materials are stored inside, they remain absolutely bone dry and entirely free from the digestive process. Because the skin around their face and neck is incredibly elastic and flexible, these pouches can expand dramatically, stretching all the way from the sides of their mouth down to their shoulders and even reaching back to their hips. This massive storage capacity allows a single hamster to carry an astonishing amount of resources, frequently packing away a payload that equals up to 20% of their entire body weight. When fully loaded to maximum capacity,
food
this
scattering
anatomical
across a
feat
wide
causes their
enclosure
head to
substrate,
swell
as
to twice
demonstrated
or even
here,
3
mimics
times its
natural
normal
foraging
size,
and
transforming
increases
their
physical
appearance
activity,
into a
reducing
comical,
boredom
bulging
effectively.
sphere. In the unforgiving wild, this ability is a cornerstone of their survival strategy, enabling them to gather vast amounts of sustenance in mere minutes under the cover of darkness. By minimizing the time they spend exposed in the open, they effectively dodge the keen eyes of hungry predators, using their biological backpack to transport their treasures safely back to the deep sanctuary of their underground tunnels. Beyond just hoarding grains, wild hamsters rely on this spacious transport system to carry soft materials for building insulated nests. And in desperate moments of extreme danger, certain wild species have even been observed gently tucking their tiny, defenseless pups inside their cheeks to carry them away from harm. Unfolds the moment this nocturnal gatherer steps into their domain and encounters their food supply, revealing a deeply ingrained behavior that frequently misleads many pet owners. When you fill your hamster's bowl and return a short time later to find it completely empty, your immediate instinct might be to assume that your tiny friend has a monstrous appetite and devoured everything in sight. However, science tells us a completely different story, as this sudden disappearance is almost never driven by immediate hunger, but by an intense, unyielding survival instinct to hoard resources. Instead of eating the food where it sits, the hamster immediately begins an efficient, systematic gathering operation, loading every single seed, grain, and pellet into their expansive cheek pouches until the bowl is bare. They then transport this heavy cargo straight to a designated hiding spot within the deepest, lowest levels of their enclosure, carefully burying their treasure beneath their exercise wheel or packing it tightly into the furthest corner of their sleeping chamber. In the wild, leaving food out in the open is an open invitation to competing foragers and dangerous predators, so burying their bounty is the only way to guarantee a secure future. For those who care for these animals, constantly refilling an empty bowl can inadvertently lead to massive forgotten piles of decaying food hidden in the bedding, which can cause severe sanitation issues. To respect their natural psychology, experts suggest scatter feeding, a method where you sprinkle food randomly across the bedding, forcing them to use their keen sense of smell to actively forage, hunt, and dig for their meals. Turning a basic routine into an enriching mental and physical workout takes us from the quiet corners of their food cache directly to the centerpiece of their nighttime world, where we witness a feat of raw endurance that completely defies their small stature. Once their home is organized and their food is safely buried, the hamster transitions into an elite long-distance athlete, climbing onto their exercise wheel to begin a breathtaking marathon that lasts for hours. On any given night, a healthy, energetic hamster can easily log between 10,000 and 13,000 complete rotations on their wheel, a staggering mechanical effort that translates to a physical distance of 9.5 to 12.5 kilometers, or roughly 6 to 8 miles in a single night. To put this into perspective, it is the biological equivalent of a human being running a full marathon every single evening before sunrise. This intense need for motion was famously analyzed in a fascinating behavior study conducted at the University of Moncton, which investigated how these tiny runners interact with their exercise equipment. The researchers discovered that hamsters possess remarkably specific, sophisticated architectural preferences, showing an overwhelming bias toward perfectly smooth, unobstructed circular wheels with expansive diameters, heavily favoring a large 35-centimeter wheel over a cramped 23-centimeter alternative. Furthermore, the study revealed a distinct behavioral gap between genders, demonstrating that male hamsters express a significantly more intense, driven passion for wheel running compared to their female counterparts. This data highlights why choosing the correct equipment is so critical for their physical structural health. A Syrian hamster requires a spacious 28 to 30 centimeter wheel, while smaller dwarf species need at least 20 to 22 centimeters because running on a wheel that is too small forces their delicate spine to bend backward into a severe, unnatural arch. Over time, this constant spinal compression causes chronic pain, debilitating stress, and severe psychological frustration, which often manifests as destructive behaviors like obsessive cage biting, proving that a smooth, properly sized wheel is a vital necessity for their survival tournaments, from the thrill of their nightly marathon into a quiet, hidden danger that can turn their incredible survival mechanics into a silent crisis. While the hamster's expanding cheek pouches and intense urge to forage are brilliant evolutionary traits, they also expose these fragile creatures to serious internal health risks that often unfold completely undetected in the dead of night. Because the pouches are a delicate, warm environment, stuffing them with sharp, abrasive seeds, jagged bedding materials, or overly long teeth can easily scratch the sensitive inner lining, creating painful abscesses and severe pus-filled infections. An even more frequent hazard is infection, a dangerous blockage that occurs when sticky, starch-heavy foods mix with a tiny amount of moisture, causing the contents to become tightly wedged, ferment, and literally rot inside the pouch. When a hamster suffers from this condition, their cheek remains permanently swollen, and they may emit a foul odor or salivate excessively as the trapped food spoils. In the most severe cases, the intense pressure and physical strain can cause a complete prolapse, where the delicate lining of the pouch literally turns inside out, protruding from their mouth as a painful pink mass that requires immediate veterinary intervention to surgically repair. Beyond these physical structural dangers, their night foraging can turn fatal if they manage to discover forbidden human foods left within their reach. Feeding them acidic citrus fruits can induce severe toxic reactions, while chocolate contains chemical compounds that can trigger violent seizures, and heavily seasoned, salty, or sugary foods can completely destroy their fragile digestive equilibrium. As the long hours of darkness begin to fade and the first light of dawn creeps into the room, the furious energy of the night slowly winds down to a gentle halt. The tiny explorer climbs down from their wheel, their cheek pouches completely emptied of their nightly harvest, and they quietly slip back beneath the heavy mountain of wood shavings to rest. This daily rhythm reminds us that the frantic running, the relentless digging, and the constant rustling in the dark are not a nuisance or a random burst of hyperactivity, but the beautiful, unfiltered expression of an ancient wild instinct thriving inside a modern home. For those who share their spaces with these incredible creatures, our entire perception of their world undergoes a profound shift. We realize that their lives are not defined by these passive stillness of the afternoon, but by the magnificent unseen endurance of their nightly journeys. Now, you know that when the room goes dark, a tiny parallel world of incredible athletic feats and remarkable survival strategies comes alive right before your eyes. It makes you realize that even the smallest bedroom pet carries the vast, untamed spirit of the wild wilderness deep within their heart. Thank you so much for stepping into the shadows with us tonight to uncover the secret life of these tiny marathon runners. I would love to hear about your own experiences, so please let me know in the comments below if you have ever stayed up late to watch your little friend run on their wheel or gather their hidden treasures. As the sun rises, the cage goes quiet at dawn, the wheel stands still, and the feeders are empty. But the secret life of the night waits patiently to begin all over again.